I hope you're sitting comfortably with a drink to hand and are ready to find out who's the best in customer contact in Europe. Please welcome your host for this evening, the only woman to hold World, Olympic, European and Commonwealth gold medals at the same time, an author of books on fitness, health, self-fulfillment and well-being, and recognised TV presenter, Sally Gunnell OBE.
It's a real pleasure to be with you this evening and to welcome you to the European Contact Centre and Customer Service Awards for 2020. These awards have been going for 20 years. That's amazing achievement and is a huge testament to the growth of the industry and how important it is to recognise those teams and organisations that are pushing the boundaries and delivering excellence. It's nearly 30 years since I won that gold. So there's so much that I learned from my running days that I apply into my life, and I'd just like to quickly share some of those. And I think it's about having that vision, having something that you want to achieve. And I think that's always been really important for me, that is to, right from, I don't know, when I was 14 years old and my coach sort of said to me, right, what is it you want to achieve? And he allowed me to think big and to think of maybe one day standing on the top of that rostrum and winning that gold medal. But he allowed me to sort of have little small goals. And I think that's really, really important in whatever we do in life, is to have that sort of meaning and purpose to each day. Especially when we've been going through the pandemic. And I think it's now's the time that we need to start setting those goals. And I always, in myself, I have my short, I have my medium, and I have my long goals. My long goals are those dream goals. The medium goals maybe in a year or so, but those short goals is, what do I want to get up to do today? What do I want to achieve by next week? And I think that gives you that motivation, and that has really helped me when I ran, and so much more in the last sort of year as well. I think the other thing is knowing that there will always be things that go wrong. You know, I think I became that athlete to stand on the top of that rostrum because I went through some real struggles of losing races that I should have done, having a couple of real serious injuries over those years. But I think what that does is, when you have those setbacks and when you have things that are thrown at you, it's about building that resilience up, and it's about, you know, learning stuff about you and making sure that you're still hungry for it, because we all got to love and enjoy what we do and be hungry for it. And I think when you go through those disappointments, rather than say it always happens for me and you sort of like dwell on it for 6 months, and if only that deal had happened, or if only I'd won that medal, or whatever it may be, then I always think, you know, you've got to learn from it, and the skill is to put it behind you, find that reason, put it behind you and move on. And I really believe that going through some of those real struggles, again, creates that character within us. I think the other thing was having an amazing team around me, and I think it took me a long time to work out that I couldn't do this all on my own, and that I needed help and support. And I always remember it was, you know, becoming fifth in an Olympics to winning wasn't just about training harder and putting those hours in. It was actually about having an amazing team and asking for help from people. And that team can be all sorts of different things. And I think where I've learned to apply that into my life now is about that piece around resilience and looking at all those small little things that really, really added up. And going into those Olympics in Barcelona, it was, you know, looking at what I was eating and bringing in a nutritionist. It was looking about sleep and the importance of sleep, and then it was about having a great coach and the physiological side of it, all those sorts of things. And I sort of sourced the best people out there, and still now, you know, it's I know that it helps with my mental health, with my you know, my ability to be able to concentrate and deliver if I've done all those little bits that all sort of add up. And I always remember someone saying to me, do you know what, one of the most important things to take to that Olympics is your pillow, because you know you can have a great night's sleep. So I would just say to everybody, you know, what are your little bits that make you fire, that allow you to be able to, you know, to keep performing day after day? Because sometimes that's the hardest piece, but it's about building up that resilience around you. And I think the other thing I learned was how important this is up here, our mind. Once I had all that resilience, once I had that great team around me, the thing that I then had to overcome was self-belief, belief in your own ability. And I think for so many years I'd put myself down, and you know, a lot of people that I come across, it's within the corporate world, you know, this is one of the things that they're always saying, am I good enough? Can I do this? And the piece that I used to do that was all the time. Everybody was always better than me. But the piece I had to do was to bring in the sports psychologist and learn how to use our mind, really. And we did a lot around visualization, around seeing us winning, achieving what it is that we've set our goals and actually achieving that, seeing it in colours, seeing it in bright pictures, and you know, what does that mean to the team, which was really, really key. I think the other thing was to stop listening to that very negative inner voice. And I always say this was the icing on the cake almost, because I had everything in place. But sometimes when I rocked up on that race day, there was still that inner voice, you know, the one that says, oh, my back's hurting, I'm tired today, I've eaten rubbish, or whatever it is. And if we just keep saying those negative things, we won't ever go out there perform. So I had to learn to squash that voice in my head. And what I did is that every time a negative comes in, I screw it up in a little piece of paper in my mind, I throw it out and I say, do you know what? You can do this. You've worked hard for it. You're great at what you do. You're just as good as everybody else. And once I'd done that work and really mentally, I call it my mental fitness almost, just as important as your physical fitness, amazing what we can achieve. So I would just say to everybody out there, yeah, believe in your own ability, use this up here, and who knows what you can achieve out there. Good luck with everybody. This evening is all about the celebration, as we are not all together in a room and cannot see you jumping out of your seat when the winners are announced. Please see if you can capture that moment. Maybe ask a colleague or family member to record your reaction, or take a screenshot when you return to your room later. Please then share your photos and videos on social media. It's the only way that we can see that special moment and how you really respond to winning. Once all the winners have been announced, please stay online for the after party. We are delighted to have Jake O'Neill in the live lounge. Jake is a contact centre advisor who got a chair turn from no other than Tom Jones on The Voice this year. You can also visit the gin room, where you'll find Ian from the Village Spirit Collective, find out how to make the best G&T, now we're talking, and take a tour around his village distillery and find out a lot more about gin. Or you can even go to the dance floor, where you'll find a guest DJ and let your hair down. You have all done amazingly well to get this far, and I'm sure that you can't wait to find out who the winners are. So it just remains for me to say good luck to everybody. Enjoy that moment.